Hello, Year 9 parents. Welcome to a new year. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Year 9 Journey for Life program, how it might impact your son or your daughter, and what's involved is the next part of the year as we progress through. Just so that you get a bit of an idea who I am, I'm Mr. Gilson. I am the leader of the Year 9 program. I coordinate what goes on throughout the year. So if you've got any problems, any questions, you can talk to your homeroom teacher or you can talk to me. Now you've got a face for the name. So you are an expert in your son and your daughter, and that's important. You've looked after them from birth all the way through, and so you know what they're like. But in Year 9, we have a team of experts in Year 9 students, because we teach just Year 9 students. And we've been teaching just Year 9 students for some time now. So while you're an expert in your son and your daughter, we become experts in teaching just Year 9s. And so we've got a group of teachers that are joining us. You've got myself, you'll have Mrs. Jacobek, she'll be teaching maths for some of the students. We have Miss Reed, who also teaches English, and she'll be teaching some humanities to some of the students. Mr. Nguyen, he'll be teaching some maths and some English. Mr. McAndrew, he teaches science and Bible. Ms. Jones, she'll be teaching humanities and some PE. And Mr. Hughes, he's going to be teaching some science and some PE. So these are things that the different teachers are covered, and these are the teachers that you'll have for homerooms, and your son or daughter will be able to interact with each one of these teachers. Let me tell you a little bit about what the importance of this program is. You know, as we go through life, we notice how things change. Your journey and what it was like when you grew up was very different to how it is today. You know, sometimes when I look at Year 9 students, I realize that Year 9 is a really tough time of year for them. It's a tough time in their life. They're sort of trying to figure out what's going on, where they fit in, and what life is for them. But you know what? That means it's a tough time for parents as well, because parents are trying to figure out what's going on with my son, what's going on with my daughter. They've changed. They're moody, they're this, they're that. Teachers often have a hard time with Year 9s as well, because they're trying to figure out where they fit in. It's not time for VCE yet, but they've been in high school a couple of years now, so they're trying to, in that middle section, trying to figure out what it's all about. So there's lots of reasons for these difficulties as they approach. It's growing up, it's trying to figure out who you are, where you fit in, but there's also very much a need for a rite of passage. This is where you're not sure whether you're a child or whether you're an adult. And maybe for you, when you're growing up, you had a time when you definitely decide that, hey, looking at what's going on, I'm an adult now. I can drive a car, I can do various things. And in different cultures, they have this rite of passage where they might have to go out and kill a lion or whatever it might be. And that would prove that they were an adult. In today's society, we don't have that. We don't have this rite of passage that says, you're no longer a child, you're an adult. It's something that sort of slowly evolves through. And so we've tried to instill that in our program, this rite of passage, and our aim is to guide the students from one stage of their life to the next, give them some guidance, not tell them what to do exactly all of the time, but guide them, work in conjunction with you as a parent, so that your son and your daughter can be the best students possible, the best adults possible. And as we go through, we're trying to get students to be thinkers, to actually think about what they're doing, think about the things that they interact with, not just reflecting other people's ideas and opinions, but for them to come up with some themselves. You know, we aim to make school a learning experience that's a little bit more like real life. And we have times when we're not here in the classroom. We are out in the bush. And so it's still a classroom. The students are still learning, but it's learning without the walls of the classroom. When you learn for life, it makes you aware of the role you have in the learning process. Because each of those students, as we come through, they have to make that choice. Are they going to learn? Are they not? And you as a parent would have had those same choices. Will you learn? And what's the purpose of learning? What are you learning for? So this is critical. As we go through, we as teachers look at students and we can see that students, they've changed. They've got more insight. They're better than what they were. And we can see that change within the students, primarily because we can look at the students and follow them through for a whole year. And we look at just Year 9 students. The benefits of this particular program are felt not just within our school, and we do see the benefits. And you can say, oh, what are the benefits? Well, academically, there are benefits. I can look at a Year 12 student, and I talk to the Year 12 teachers, and they'll often tell me that, you know what, when we look at English, when we look at the way students write in English, they say we can pick out the students that have been through the Year 9 program. Those that have, their writing is more developed and they're writing from experience. It's much higher academically than those that haven't had the privilege of being part of the program. But it's not just here at the school that's felt. We feel the same things in the community. And often I'll talk to a parent and I'll say, what did you do with my son and daughter? They came back from camp and they're doing stuff on their own. They're making their bed, they're packing their own bags, they're becoming more independent. And these are really exciting things. As a parent, that's what I strive for with my son, with my daughter, for them to be able to become independent, to become successful adults. You know, there's a recent study that was published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, and it found that spending time in nature decreases obsessive and negative thoughts by a significant margin. Now, this is one reason why we take students out into the bush. We take them out there for hiking because it gets them away from technology, gets them away from other things, and it does improve their academic ability and their academic performance. A number of people in the past have come to me and said, but they're out of class for so long. Doesn't it affect their academics? Aren't they missing out on classes? And I say, absolutely, it's affecting their academics. It's improving their academics. It's not a negative thing. Another study that was conducted by psychologists Ruth Ann and David Strayer, they found that participants who were disconnected from technology while in nature improved their performance in creative tasks and complex problem solving by as much as 50%. And this is why often when we go hiking and on the camps, we'll tell students, I'm sorry, you need to leave your phone at home. Okay, you need to leave technology at home. We want you to talk to each other. We want you to engage in what's going on without the pressures of screens. And that's really hard sometimes for students because they have the screen with them all the time. And sometimes it's hard for parents to let go and go, yes, this is what is best for my son, for my daughter. Remember, you can contact the teachers when they're on camp. So if you're worried about them, you can contact them. And if something happens, students can contact the parents via the teacher's phone. So it's not about stopping that communication from happening. It's about getting the students to communicate better with those around them rather than relying on screens. In the Learning for Life program, we have a number of different areas. We have our expeditionary learning, and that's important. We have our urban learning, and we have our service learning. I'll unpack each one of those as we go through. So our expeditionary learning, it consists of a walk, Werribee Gorge, and that's a one-day walk. We take the students out, they get to experience what's like out in the bush, and teachers get to know them a little bit better. And following that, in week 4, we have our first overnight hike. Now, this is for 4 nights, 5 days. So students are out in the bush. They're at base camp though. So this is at Mount Boangor. So think of it as like a base camp, and they spend just one night up on the mountain. So it's not a big pressure on them. And we teach them how to cook with the transiers and set up the tents and how to hike properly and pack and navigate and all those sorts of things. So it's very much a learning camp for them. We follow that up with Fry's Ranges. And Fry's Ranges is a 2-night, 3-day hike where they're on their own a little bit more. They've still got the teacher, but their group is smaller. It's not base camp. And so they start to put in place some of the skills that they've learned at the previous camp and actually start to solidify them and experience them for themselves. Our final expedition is Mount Bogong. And that happens in term 4. But Mount Bogong happens to be, it's a long camp, so it's 9 days in total. They will camp for 6 nights, 7 days. And so we have a small time at Howman's Gap at the end. But this is their final challenge for Year 9. And it's really important that you enable and allow your student to participate in this one. It's a big, long camp. It's the culmination. It's the last thing. But it's something different to what they've experienced anywhere else before. The scenery is amazing. And often students will come back and go, you know what? Bogong, that was my favorite hike because of the scenery, because of things I learned, because of what I experienced up there. That was the best. And look back fondly about Bogong. So that's expeditionary learning. Our urban learning takes place in term 2. And our urban learning consists of 5 urban days. And the students go into the CBD and they will investigate a particular topic of their choosing. We've given them a broad umbrella of about how Melbourne could be one of the world's most livable cities, but they have to break that down and they have to investigate that themselves. So some of that will be them conducting interviews, taking photographs, seeing what's actually there. We teach them how to navigate into the city and they will conduct their research and then they'll come back and they'll present their findings to their students, their fellow classmates. So it's good for them because they get to practice public speaking, get to practice what it's like to present information to somebody else. We move on then to our service learning. And our service learning is all about the community. Service learning usually takes place, we have 3 days of learning and service to our local community, which is followed up by going to Warrnambool. And at Warrnambool, it's usually a 2-week camp where they'll experience being of service to the people in Warrnambool, as well as doing some geography field work and looking at some of the areas around Warrnambool related to sustainability. We go down there and we currently visit about 95% of the preschools down at Warrnambool, and we're involved in putting on a show for some of those students. So it could be some students will learn how to be a puppet, how to be a clown, how to do face painting, ballooning, all those sorts of things. And they will put on a show for free for those students that are down there. While the students are doing that, other service opportunities involve working with different shire councils. Could be planting trees, it could be weeding, could be beach cleanup, but it's all about how can they be of service to their community? What can they do to improve other people's surroundings? So our whole journey consists of the call-in, which takes place early on. Then we go to the departure, where they actually move away from being close to the parents all the time. With the following, and we have various exercises like our Journey for Life classes where they learn what it's like to become a good adult. We have challenges as we go along. We have the abyss, which I've talked about at Bogong. Then we have the return, and finally the homecoming, the celebration. And they get to actually present their journey to you as parents at the end as they come through. I'd like to encourage you to have a look at the other videos that are in this particular series about what's offered in the Learning for Life program. Have a look at them, go back over, play them. If you've got questions, please talk to the teachers that are there. We'll endeavour to give you as much information as we can. This Learning for Life program is life-changing. I've seen it numerous times where it has impacted a student, but I said to all students as they come at the beginning of the year, this program, you will get as much out of this program as you put into it. And parents, that means sometimes we have to literally say to our student son and daughter, I'm sorry, you need to go on this camp. You need to participate in this activity because I know it is good for you. If we allow them to just go, oh, it's too hard. Oh, it's 5 days away from home. I know mums, it's 5 days away from your cooking. They love your cooking, but it's also part of them growing up. And they will come back and they will appreciate your cooking so much more because it's so much better than what they've been able to cook themselves. But they grow from it. And as parents, you and I want your son, your daughter to grow. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to what I have to say. If you've got further questions, have a look at the information that's been sent out to you, the parent information booklet, as well as the upcoming camps. Thank you so much.